me just to go up, down, over?
Yeah. No, you look good. We have also in attendance, we have Mark Daley from TRPC. Good evening, Mark. And some of our staff. I see our presenters from the Yelm Chamber are also in the attendees. And are you going to wait, Grant, to promote them when it's their turn to present?
Yeah, I think I will.
Okay. Can we ask Mark if he has something to present tonight? I'm not aware.
No, Mr. Mayor, I just hadn't seen you all in a while, so I thought I'd check in and see what's going on. So thank you.
Well, okay, a little warning next time, okay?
Oh, sorry about that.
Just kidding. And good evening, Ms. Furman. Always good to see you with us as well.
Mark, he thought he missed something on the TRPC agenda. That's why he was nervous.
Yeah, like I missed a meeting or something. All right, it's 6 o'clock. I see that we're all in attendance. Lori will note that in the minutes, and we are recording. So we'll call the meeting of the study session of the Yelm City Council, January 5th, 2021, to order. And we'll start right off. I don't know if anybody wants to do a more exciting intro, but we do have Keith Llewellyn and Wendy Hill from TCOM here who want to do a presentation to us on the intergovernmental agreement that we're all going to be brought before us as an action item at the next City Council meeting. So Keith and Wendy, you want to just take it from here?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Councilors. I appreciate the time this evening. I have a slide deck. I'm told that you received it already. Is that true?
Waiting for Grant to say yes.
I have not, no.
Okay, then I will just share my screen.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep.
Nicely done.
And then we will pop up the slideshow here and I'll take you through it.
All right. Thanks, Keith.
Yeah.
It was a test to see how technically competent TCOM staff.
So far, so good, I think.
Awesome.
I even got the year right, huh? All right, so our intergovernmental agreement is a pretty old one. We've had it since way before my time. And the last time it was updated or refreshed, it was in 2010. And you all who were present at that time will recall that that's when TCOM 911 separated from the county and became an independent agency. Previously, it was a county department, and so in 2010, went through those processes to become an independent organization. We are currently a 501c3 by IRS status, and we are formed by an intergovernmental agreement with all of the public safety agencies within the county, and with the exception of WSP, who have their own communication center. So tonight, what I would like to share with you is we put together a group to reconfigure or review and refresh the IGA. And that happened in May of 2018. The administration board of directors put together a group and they went through the bylaws and the IGA. And the main purpose of doing that was, at the time, we were looking for a mechanism to enable us to borrow money so that we could purchase a new radio system. And you probably all know the history, but what happened instead was we were able to go to the legislature. We were able to raise the ceiling from 1/10 to 2/10 on the emergency communication sales use tax. And then subsequently, we went to the Thurston County voters and got that approved in Thurston County. So with that revenue, we were able to borrow money without any issues, so to speak. But there is one phrase in the IGA that needed to be corrected and still needs to be corrected. And that's the one here in Article 3.4.6. And the specific language, unless and until TCOM 911 has such power under applicable law, is what we wanted to strike, so that it was very clear that the agency has the ability to borrow money and would be responsible for the borrowing and the debt service on that borrowing. So that's what generated the first set of reviews here. That working group was established. We had people from both the administration board and the operations boards on that group, and we went through the document. The other, let me see here. Oh, this is, I'm sorry, I lost track of where I was. This is the process we need to go through to make changes to the bylaw, to the intergovernmental agreement. So essentially, we propose the changes, or any one of our member agencies can propose a change. And then we have to take those changes out to all of our members to get them ratified. And so we're starting with the city of Yelm, and we'll go through all the other members of the intergovernmental agreement. And once we're done and have collected all the signatures, then these changes will become in effect. So the bylaws working group put together most of the changes that are presented. Some of the changes came from the need to change the language for the emergency sales use tax. There was a lot of language in the IGA, the current IGA, that refers specifically to 1/10 of 1%. And we needed to change that so that it covered the whole 2/10. And that will enable the county to legally transfer that money to us, which they are doing now voluntarily, but we want to make sure that it's pretty solid on legal grounds. And then, of course, the administration board of directors for TCOM have looked at all the reviewed and recommended changes and have approved them. And then after that, we took those reviewed comments and suggestions to a group of city attorneys and the county attorney, who also looked through the document and made some suggestions and approved what the recommendations were. So it's been vetted pretty well, I would say. And Mr. Mayor, I can take you through all the changes. It'd take me about 7-10 minutes, or I can entertain questions. What would you prefer? You're on mute, I'm sorry.
Trying to use the fancy button to unmute myself. There it goes. So I would prefer that the council ask relevant questions if they've had a chance to look at this, or if, you know, bob your head vigorously, council, if you would like him to read through all of the changes, or if you would like to just ask questions as they come.
I would like to hear the changes.
Okay. And there's a bob from Terry. All right, Keith, why don't you just go ahead through all the changes?
The short version of the particular change.
The Reader's Digest version of the changes.
These are the short, this is the outline form. And what I've done is I've sent to your clerk, I guess, the red line version and a changes accepted version. So you should have those available to you. If not, I will get them out to you, okay? So if you need more detail, we can go there. I also have that available to share on my screen if you want to look at old language versus new language. So let's just start. Article 1, the recitals, we revised the sales use tax language. And so the language we use now is total receipts from emergency communication sales use tax. So that eliminates the need to revise this if there's any change to the 2/10 in the future. So that's what the language is. In Article 2, we updated the definitions of communication services, emergency communication systems and facilities, member agency, member assessments, non-member agency, public safety interlocal operation. All those were either added or modified. In Article 3, this is where we removed the borrowing language through one or more of the member agencies unless and until TCOM 911 has such power under applicable law. Remove that from section 3.4.6. In Article 4, we had minor language change for clarification, 4.2. Same for 4.3 to reflect the current status. In 4.2, we changed the language of purchasing so that it would enable TCOM to purchase the initial equipment for all of our member agencies so that they would not have to purchase it themselves. Previous to this in the IGA, there was no provision for TCOM to buy any assets for our member agencies. So we changed that language to enable us to do that. Then in 4.6, we added language to reflect the terms of the current lease with the county for this facility. We had no lease before we started working on it in 2014. And the only reference to TCOM occupying this building was in the IGA, and there were no terms or conditions. So essentially, Wendy and I went to the county and we put together a lease plan and worked through that. And now we have a 5-year lease with the county for this facility that does renew and have extensions for the indefinite future. But we needed to update the language in the IGA as a result. Okay, in Article 5, there were no changes. In Article 6, we added language to clarify the process in the withdrawal of a member agency. So if one of our member agencies needed to withdraw or wanted to withdraw, we clarified that language on how they would do that. Article 7, there were no changes. Article 8, we added the ability to contribute future revenue for maintenance, operations, and replacement purposes. And Article 8 is really adding new members. And what we found was if someone asked the administration board of directors to become a member agency of the organization, the process was not very clear. It essentially said it was totally up to the administration board of directors and they could set the terms and conditions. And so when we were reviewing the IGA, the board of directors wanted stronger language about the necessity for a new member to be able to guarantee their ability to add revenue for maintenance, operations, and replacements. Article 9, there were no changes. Article 10, no changes. Article 11, we revised the sales use tax language here again. And then we revised the language to eliminate Schedule 1. And this is the member funding formula, but still maintain the process to implement a member funding formula if necessary. So you will see on the next page that Schedule 1 here, the second from the last bullet point, was removed from the IGA. And Schedule 1 was the schedule that set the funding formula for member agencies if the administration board of directors imposed user fees at any time in the future. And what the administration board of directors determined was that since the implementation of the 1/10 in 2002 and the subsequent implementation of 2/10 in 2019, we've not had the need or necessity for user agency fees. So they wanted to eliminate the funding formula and would reinstitute a new funding formula if ever in the future user fees were needed, which is highly unlikely. So we removed the funding formula. So in essence, those are the changes. Are there any questions or comments or discussion? Still
I
on.
don't see any,
There you
I
go.
don't see any raised hands, Keith. And for some reason, James, we can't see you. Can you see us on the screen?
Yeah, I can see you. I'm on a PC right now. I don't have a video right now.
Gotcha. Any questions though, James?
No.
Okay. Well described. What else do you have for background information, or what are the next steps, Keith?
Next steps are to visit all of our member agencies, starting with Yelm, and then it'll probably take us, I'm guessing we will have it done by end of second quarter. So it'll be a little bit of a roadshow here for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're asking from you is at your regular meeting, when you do consider this, we would like your approval to move forward.
Well, we have it on our agenda for next Tuesday. Council, do you see any need for Keith or Wendy to come to that meeting to answer any further questions? Or, and I'm sure that when Keith sends that red line and final version to Lori, that would be available for you to peruse as well. Otherwise, you'll see this as an action item on the 12th. Keith, if we have any other questions come up and we feel it's imperative for you, your team to come down and answer them at the meeting during that action discussion, we'll let you know.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. Appreciate your time this evening.
Yeah, Wendy, anything else you wanted to say?
No, I think.
Anything at all?
Covered it well.
I hadn't had an opportunity to tease you about anything in the longest time. So thanks for coming all the way out to Yelm.
Well, it was my pleasure.
Very good. All right, thanks you too. And Grant, if you will, elevate the chamber folks to panelists, we'll introduce them. There we go. And we do have Lynn's presentation ready to go, don't we, Grant?
I don't know.
Oh, Lynn, are you ready to share your screen, and would you like us to?
I certainly can share my screen.
Okay.
Will take just a second. I had sent it out.
While you're doing that, we'll just point out that the Yelm Chamber board members are also here. You may be wanting to introduce them yourselves, but Terry Tracy, member of ZZ Top, also known as Matt McClellan. Welcome. You are rocking that thing, Matt.
Thank you very much.
And I think I have it as well, Lynn, if you need me to share it.
It might be easier if you have it already up. I'm just logging into our system.
Lynn, I have it too if you want me to share it.
Sure.
Who said that?
It was Tracy.
Oh, hi, Tracy.
Hi.
Okay. Well, I'm ready, or Tracy.
All right, you go ahead then if you're ready.
Okay.
We'll let you go.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen and see. Everybody see the year in review?
We
Is
do.
that showing? Okay. Very good. Well, then Lynn, take it from here. Oh, welcome, Lynn Critchfield, Executive Director of the Yelm Area Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. And thank you, city councilors, for allowing us to be here tonight and kind of give a quick rundown of what 2020 looked like for us. I have Tracy Cho, Matt McClellan, and Terry Pablo here with me tonight, who are all on our board of directors, and they have graciously agreed to sit in and present with you all this evening. So this document you would have gotten a couple days ago. I hope that you've taken a second and just perused it at your leisure, a little before bed reading. I do have, oh, can you scroll down? Keep going, keep going. So Terry is going to introduce our board.
Yes, so we have a wonderful 12-person board, which is led by Dan Nicholson right now, and our president-elect is Joe Richardson. But as you see there, we just switched to somebody's email. Would that be JW's email?
That would be JW's email, I think. Your email's up now, JW.
Yeah, there we go. So Jane Walker, Tracy Choate, Angie Evans being the past president, Ben Otaveras, Bill DeVore, Jesse Kellums, Matt McClellan, who you've met, Steele Clayton, myself, and Wayne McCartan make up our board. And we have been very dynamic, as you have in our monthly meetings, but it's been really great as a board. This is my first year on, and just to see the involvement and the commitment that each of the board members have to growing and having the chamber prosper within the city.
And if you want to scroll down, so this page we talked about our new members that we gained this year, despite a really rough year economically. We did manage to grab 16 new members here in town, and we got to celebrate with 4 ribbon cuttings at the beginning of the year before everything kind of shut down a little bit. So we're very grateful for those new members. And then of course you can see a full list of our membership on our website, which is at the bottom of that page. And Tracy is going to talk about our events and activities.
All right. So our events are all planned by our activities committee that is, we meet once a month, and we're comprised of multiple business owners that are here in Yelm, and we come together and give our input on what we can do. Obviously this year, most of what we did was virtual. But we still were able to hold our chamber forums. We had many really great speakers, and those were mostly attended better than what we had originally expected that they would be. So we went ahead and we did continue that. We've done coffee with the chamber, which is again just an opportunity for our community members and our Yelm Chamber members to come together. We share a cup of coffee, talk about what's going on in our community, and share some good stuff there. We did continue our Drive 507, again, virtually, and we will look to go ahead and continue that into 2021. Hopefully we will at some point to be able to be in person and go back to our original routine of visiting our local community members and supporting their businesses. And so we'll see how that goes. We got to do the pizza one and 507, right? Did we actually get those 2 in this year? So we started the year off with pizza and beer, and that's as far as we got. So, we had Leads at Lunch was something that we had kind of put together. Again, this was to bring our business leaders in our community come together and share ideas and talk about what we do. And again, hopefully we'll be able to do that. The premise of that was we came together at different restaurants within Yelm and supported those businesses as we could on Fridays for lunch. We were able to do several, I think what Lynn said, 4 ribbon cutting ceremonies this year before we were not able to do those any longer. And so again, as we have new businesses open up in 2021, we hope to be able to resume those activities because we like to have our purple ribbon get cut in front of our local businesses. Our big disappointment in 2021 was that we had geared up to go ahead and have our Nisqually Valley Home and Garden Show. And as we all know, we were unable to have that event. We are in the process of going ahead and starting our early planning for having that event in 2021. That's usually the last weekend of April. So we'll just have to kind of play that out and see how it goes. Fingers crossed on that, we'll be able to safely have that in 2021. We were able to do our best of Nisqually Gala. We just, again, did it virtually. It was actually quite a bit of fun. We had our award ceremony online. We got to have drinks and what were they called, Lynn? Because I can never remember what they were. There you go. That people could pick up from Masonry if they purchased that ticket. And we actually had a really nice evening online, and it was very well attended for an event. And then last thing that we did was Yelm Lights at Night. And this was something that Lynn worked obviously with the city of Yelm and tried to do something fun and festive as safely as possible in the city park. And I saw a lot of posts on Facebook and social media about people enjoying that. So we were happy that we were able to contribute into bringing that to the community.
And then we had some really fun promotions this year that we really took to our social media very early on in the shutdown, because we knew that was going to be the best way to get as many people as we could. So some of the promotions that we did was Banner Yelm, and you can kind of see the pictures on the right hand of the pamphlet. Our board of directors and activity committee came together, and we had our big banner. We took pictures, posted those all over social media. Mug Monday, we shared, logoed mugs. We just did our Keep the Cheer Here promotion through the month of December. And that was a really neat promotion where you'd submit your receipt, and then we would send out, we draw a name and send out a reimbursement for their purchase amount for local shopping. It was really neat. We got to see, I added up all of the total receipts, and we brought in more than $4,400 worth of local purchases, which was really fun, to see the actual dollar amount of what we were doing. Small Business Saturday, we went around kind of like the Banner Yelm. We did the Heart, Share Joy, Shop Small, and to spread the small business awareness of that holiday. And then of course our Yelm Holiday Selfie, where businesses set up selfie spots around outside of their building, and then people would take their pictures, and we got to draw prizes for gift cards for those selfies that we got to see through our social media. And I think I looked at something like 250 selfies of those selfie spots. So that was really, really neat to see. Do you want to scroll down just a little bit, JW? Thank you. And then Matt's going to talk a little bit about our partnerships.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for taking time to hear us out today. It really does mean a lot to us. If every chamber in the world had to agree upon really one slogan, it would likely be, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And that's where our partnerships really start to shine. We have a ton of partnerships, but we took the time to highlight just 6 of them here that are incredibly valuable to us. The first one is the Association of Washington Businesses. They really serve 2 primary purposes. The first one is the state's Chamber of Commerce. And the second one is they serve as the Manufacturing and Technology Association. If you can think of an industry, they really have their hand in it and have the ability to offer all sorts of fantastic resources, whether it's retail, wholesale, communications, the whole shebang. The next thing that our chamber partners with really well is the Experience Olympia and Beyond. If you guys haven't heard about this, this is a fantastic tourism resource. We have staff that's trained through the Thurston County Certified Tourism Ambassador Program. If you walk into our chamber building, you'll see a big old display of different brochures and things like that that you can pick up and hand to family members who are in town to help them devise their own trip to tourism around the South Sound area. So if you have anybody you can think of who's coming to town and might want some things to do when things are open, stop by the chamber and pick up some information in that. Fantastic partnership. The Thurston County Economic Development Initiative is also known as STEADY. We have a lot of relationships with them. They help us determine where we're going economically in the long term. Again, not what you know, but who you know. Through STEADY, we get contact to organizations like the Port of Olympia, the Visitor Convention Bureau, the Thurston County government, etc. The Thurston County Economic Development Council is kind of a popular one on this list. They bring workshops at low or no cost to our area businesses. It really doesn't matter who you are in the stage of owning a business. If you're a budding entrepreneur, or if you're looking to move things to commercialization, they have resources for you. Yeah, whether you're a salon owner or a realtor, they have data that can really drive your marketing forward. If you haven't reached out to them and you own a business, phenomenal resource, phenomenal partnership. The Washington Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives is a resource that Lynn Critchfield, our executor, uses a whole lot. This is something she attends every year to speak to other executives, find out what kind of resources, education, coordination, facilitation that they're using that we can mold into something that serves Yelm a little bit better, and then push out to our members as well. And then finally, our biggest partnership that I think is worth mentioning here, of course, the city of Yelm. We take time out of our forum every single month to dedicate directly to the city of Yelm by way of Mayor J.W. Foster here, who can just kind of step in and let us know what's happening around the city. If you haven't ever been to a Chamber of Commerce forum, I highly recommend that you take some time to stop in and see what it's all about, especially during things like the State of the City addresses. It's a fantastic way to connect with local business owners, local leaders, and the like. So that's just about everything that I've got on partnerships.
I want to chat just a little bit about some of our reach on social media and on our website. These are numbers from December 2020, so they may be a little bit different today. But we have just over 3,000 Facebook followers on our Yelm Chamber site. We also run the Eat Local Yelm site, which has over 2,000 followers. Instagram at Destination Yelm, which we kind of use as our tourism. Welcome to Yelm. Look how beautiful it is. Platform. That one we just started this summer, so it's still growing. And then our website, we had about 18,000 impressions in the last quarter of 2020. Some of our most popular content in that last quarter was our business directory, our membership guide, and holiday gift guide. And then, of course, some of our top referrals, Long Shot, OB Credit Union, and the Nisqually Valley News, which are excellent members and partners of ours. You can scroll down just a little bit. I think Terry's going to chat about our committees.
Yeah, and Tracy shared a lot about some of the work that our activity committee does, and the what I really look at this committee, and we probably could have a few more members on it because there are a lot of people who put a great amount of time in, because you can see all the activities that Tracy described. But it is a great way for our members to network and to support our local businesses. And so it really is the brainstorm of people who really want to make the community better. And again, Tracy shares this, and so my hats are off to her with all the things that she does. The Business Economic Recovery Task Force, better known as BERT, and obviously got started this year during the pandemic, and it was a way to really support those businesses who needed a helping hand as they had to close or were not allowed to serve customers. So you can see there that in 2020, the task force distributed $3,000 to local businesses, and it was really just quite an honor to hear how many people had applied and how we could support them from the chamber. So it was a great way to give back again. You heard a little bit about the barbecue rally and the home and garden show. These committees again are made up of people in the chamber who really want to spotlight our community. And thanks again to the city for utilizing the park and the community center. And we do hope, as we said, have that this summer again. But again, a family-friendly event that really allows our committee to show off the destination that Yelm is. And then the Nisqually Valley Home and Garden Show obviously has been a long-standing event, and we missed it this spring, but we are crossing our fingers for the future. But it does draw in vendors and visitors from all across the region. And so it's great to see them come in and check out Yelm. But this committee has their work cut out for them, and Lynn does partner with a lot of different people throughout the community to make this happen. And so the work of our members is really a way of them giving back to make Yelm better.
And then the Chamber Business Awards is something that we do every year. And this is just, I just wanted to put this in there for your information. Those nomination forms will be available on our website in January. So late this week. And we look forward to celebrating our chamber businesses towards the middle of the year. So if you have any businesses that that you think would be perfect nominees for any of these, we would love to know, to see those nominees come in. And then I think I have one more page after this. Oh, and these are just some testimonials from Stephanie. She's a member, and then Debbie is a community member and volunteer, and they were kind enough to say some really beautiful things about the chamber, and so we wanted to include those to show how they are supporting us as well. And then I believe that that's our last page. Oh, let's connect. That's just our contact information. If you want to get in touch with me at any time, you may do so via phone, email, Facebook, carrier pigeons. I will take anything.
Good, we'll open it up to questions then.
Perfect.
And I did want to point out that those nomination forms are on your website for those various awards, correct?
Not yet, probably by the end of the week.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Terry?
Yes, hi guys. Good to see you all again.
It's good to see you, Terry. We miss you.
It's so cool because we can all recycle all around this big city of ours. I just had a general question. During the shutdown, obviously you're geared to businesses. Did you find businesses actually calling and reaching out for support in specific ways rather than just general ways? I just wondered if the association really did that for businesses, and if they knew they could come to you, even if it was just for moral support.
Mm-hmm. We did have a lot of businesses reach out to us. I talked with a lot of young businesses, anywhere from just, can I just cry on the phone with you?
Yeah.
And to, how can I apply for grants? Are there any available? Do you know of any? How can we get equipment for PPE, that kind of stuff. We made sure to keep all of that really updated on our website really well. And I pushed that out often. But yeah, I did have businesses who called in for a lot of different levels of support.
Excellent. That's what I wanted to hear, that they're using you as a resource, because you guys are awesome.
Thank you.
I know that firsthand.
And I'll go to Molly next, but then to tag into Terry's, where did you send the businesses mostly? Where would you say most of their support came from during this?
We sent them to Thurston Strong a lot because it was very local. I also kept a list of different grants that were available throughout the region. When the city had their grants available, I would send them to the city, to Thurston Strong. The Retail Association at different times had their grants. The EDC had a grant. So it was really, we kind of sent them everywhere. If there was a resource available, we sent them.
Great, thanks. Molly?
Yeah, hi, Lynn. Hi, Matthew. How's it going, guys?
Good to see you.
My quick question is, I didn't even know that you guys were doing that, turn in your receipts and thing for shopping. That is so cool. I mean, we totally would have participated. My business would have participated if we had known. Are you guys planning on doing that next year? And also, I was shopping in downtown Olympia this past Christmas, and they had this little thing where all of the businesses who were participating had like little stickers, and you could put the sticker on the thing, and then you turned in the thing, and it was, you get a little prize for filling it all out. Are you guys doing something like that maybe?
Yes to both. So we will be doing pending board approval. It's on the approval docket to do Keep the Cheer Here for Christmas in July. So keep an eye for, a little celebration in the middle of the summer. And then, yes, I would love to do the Keep the Cheer Here again in December. I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. And then the shopping with the stickers is part of the the Small Business Saturday event that is also on my docket of pending board approval for 2021. So
cool. That's awesome. I didn't even know you guys did that, and I'm so glad to hear that you did, but yay, let's keep it rolling.
Yes, it was so much fun.
Thank you.
Christmas in July, Tracy, does that mean you get to put your trees up early next year?
Ooh, that would be great if I could. I would be very excited by that.
If we're open, we're having a Christmas party at Tracy's house.
Yeah, great.
Tad, did I see you had a question, sir? Okay. Any other questions from council members? Oh, Terry, again.
How about Christmas lights in the downtown core in July?
Oh.
Cody, we are going to have a chat about that.
Of course, it gets dark at 10, so they're kind of short-lived.
Yes.
Yeah, well, definitely the city wants to partner with the businesses to make Yelm a more inviting place. We all know that all roads lead through Yelm. We want them to slow down and stop, get out and shop. So if we can make it a more inviting through Terry's beautification programs and other ways through the chamber, I think that's a place where we can collaborate more, for sure.
Yes.
Okay, well, if there's no more questions or any final comments from board members.
I just want to thank you again for allowing us to share our year with you. We look forward to sharing our year next year, and hopefully we'll be able to do so in person.
Yay. Well, thanks for stepping in tonight. Appreciate your busy schedules and sharing some time with us. So see you soon.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, we'll move on now. If you thought this was exciting, wait till you see the professional services agreement with RH2 for the downtown water building well modifications. Cody, you going to take us through this, or Pat?
Pat will be handling that. He's on the attendee, so he'll have to be promoted.
Just did.
Boom. Pat Hughes from our Public Works Department, project manager. And do you have a slide set that you want to share with us, Pat?
Nope, it's just a briefing. Gosh, that last act is going to be pretty hard to follow. But no, what I wanted to do is just update you briefly on what will be coming your way here in a few weeks. We're planning to do some modifications to our downtown well house. If you're familiar with that little facility down there, it's right underneath the historic water tower. There's 3 little outbuildings there which house 3 wells, 3 of our city wells. The center building of the 3, which houses well number 1, it's actually a standby well. The building is in pretty bad shape. Part of the building have been repurposed or become obsolete. There's large portions of wasted space in the building. There's other areas that are very overcrowded with equipment. A new layout is really needed for that building. In addition, the caustic soda storage tank and the pH adjustment system are small. They need frequent partial deliveries to service them, results in high delivery fees. the free chlorine residual and pH water quality analyzer in there. I know you don't know what those mean, but they're very critical components to a public water system, are near the end of their design lives and really need to be replaced. And the facility is using a chlorine gas system for treatment, which is really a safety concern for the operations staff. And the city really would like to transition from a chlorine gas system to a liquid sodium hypochlorite feed system, just like we have out at the Southwest well facility. So what we're planning to do there with that well building is to replace the walls and the roof of the building, provide a new building layout on top of the existing foundation and slab, provide a larger caustic soda tank, replace the chlorine gas system with an on-site sodium generation system, replace the analyzer. It would include a new on-site restroom, and of course, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and upgrades to the telemetry and electrical systems in the building. So we have hired an engineer to do an initial design, a preliminary design, just to see what this thing might cost. We're working with RH2, who've done all of our facilities down at the Southwest Well, and they also working with us on our water system and have been for many years. We had budgeted in our new 2021 budget $1 million for both engineering and construction for upgrades to this building. We just a few weeks ago received a proposal from RH2 for doing the design engineering in the amount of $182,270, which is just 18% of the $1 million that we budgeted. Seems to be right about on what we would have expected for this. So we'll be bringing to you a professional services agreement from RH2 Engineering out of Tacoma on the 26th. It will not be next Tuesday night. It will be the following Tuesday night. So that's all I wanted to do, is just to brief you on what was coming, but also to see if you had any questions about that project before I move on to the next one. No. Yes, go ahead, Joe.
Thanks. Pat, great briefing. I'm always impressed with your briefings. You do a good job. My one question was regarding the non-site sodium conversion. Is that is there cost savings involved with that? And do we gain efficiencies, or what's the reason for that conversion again?
Well, there's a couple of reasons for it. One, like I mentioned, it's a safety concern. When you're working with compressed chlorine gas, it's always a safety concern whenever you're dealing with gas. But more importantly, the system that we have there is very small, so we have to very frequently recharge the system, which means very frequent deliveries. That's expensive. The chlorine, the hypochlorite system that we are now using at the Southwest Well is actually much more efficient, much safer system. We can handle larger deliveries, but we need the space to do that. We'll obviously need the tank to do it. So it really makes sense to convert. It's really a much preferred system for many reasons. So I hope that answers what you were looking for.
Yeah, good answer. Thank you.
Okay, no other questions, Pat. Move on to the next one, please.
Okay, 3D.
Hold on a second, Pat. Was that you, James?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Pat, I was curious, how pressing is that project? Is it something that can be delayed a year or two?
It could be delayed a year, but there's some problems with that building out there that really do need to be addressed. One thing I did not mention is we discovered a lot of mildew and potential mold in the building, which is really not creating a very good environment for a public water well facility. So I think it would probably, in my opinion, be better addressed sooner than later. So that's why we kind of added this project sort of at the last minute last year, because it is kind of a critical project. Now, Cody, if you want to chime in on this at all, because Cody's been dealing directly with the water people, I see it as something that we really need to address sooner than later.
Is it possible that the mold and mildew you're talking about could be cleaned out, and that we could visit this replacing the entire thing later on. My biggest concern here, we got enough budget issues right now that adding on another project is just going to be more of a headache. So where I'm at is, I mean, unless it's like dire, I mean, let's address the mold or mildew issues, I think. But as far as replacing it, I don't see how that's feasible at this moment, especially when we're going to have enough issues coming up here in the next couple months.
Want me to take that, Pat?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from, James. The good news about this is it was kind of already budgeted in the water systems plan. This is all from the water utility fund. Doesn't touch the general fund. Doesn't touch the sewer fund. Doesn't touch the stormwater fund. So the money was budgeted out of the water utility fund, and we were still able to lower water rates with this plan into place. And it's imperative we get this done before we get water rights online, because when water rights come online and we have to run this well as the southwest well at the same time, we won't have the ability to shut this one down while the construction's happening. So right now we'll be able to, because both wells run enough to power the city, or to give the city water, we can shut down the downtown well for that week while they're doing that construction, while the southwest well maintains the city, and then vice versa, we can have it. But once the population grows, both those wells will be running nonstop. So we wouldn't have that opportunity at a later date when more houses are built. So it's just a really good opportunity to knock it out now before this wave of construction comes in when water rights happen.
Okay, so it was already budgeted.
Yeah, it was budgeted in your packet, and you guys, yeah, it was already planned to have happen.
All right.
Cody, thank you. Cody, going off of that a little bit more, and Pat kind of alluded to the cost savings. Is that pretty decent? Like, is it going to impact the budget, the upcoming budgets with cost savings, or is it just minimal?
You'll see a slow, the water utility will use less and less money for gas chlorine, because gas chlorine is more expensive than salt. Like literally what they do is the hypochlorite generators, they buy salt and it changes that salt into chlorine. So it's a lot cheaper to do. So you're going to see, $10,000, $12,000 a year build up savings. And as we get as the city grows and grows and we're using more water, you'll see that savings increase as we need more and more supply, because salt is relatively cheap to buy. And you're also in a really good time right now with construction costs are coming in really low, and Pat can attest to this because of COVID. If hitting it now, we might get a lower bid than if we tried this again in a year and a half when, construction's booming again because COVID's maybe different. So it's a really good opportunity to kind of do this thing.
Would you say the primary reason for building this though is like either health, safety, or capacity issues, or?
I think all of those, there's no health damage right now, but it's good to get ahead of this so there wouldn't be, right? We don't want to, we're doing preventative maintenance instead of doing 3 years down the road when the well fails. And we're like, sorry guys, the well's failed. We should have fixed it 3 years ago. This is doing that ahead of time so we can get ahead of that problem before we have any issues.
Yeah, and it's efficiency as well. Like I mentioned, the building is really very poorly laid out. We've got a couple of large rooms that are absolutely empty, nothing being used, and other areas that are just crammed full of equipment. It's just a very poorly. It's an old building. It was just piecemealed together over years and added onto, and it's just not very efficient. So, so there's many reasons that we're looking at doing this. So, but that's all I wanted to do tonight. Just kind of give you a heads up on that. If you have any questions with the design, our engineer RH2 has put together a very robust scope of work. So you'll get that in your packet ahead of the meeting in a couple of weeks, so you can take a look at that, and I'll be there if you have any additional questions.
It's worth noting too, Pat, you might address this, that we're working with the historic group who's preserving the water tower, that they want to do some aesthetic improvements to the area, and working together on those two projects, they'll be able to help with the cost of the fencing and so forth.
Yeah, good point.
Good timing for all that. Good. Joe?
Yeah, one last thing. You mentioned some of the funding, I think to the tune of like $100 and some thousand in grant funding. Have you looked at the drinking water state revolving fund at all? I'm not sure if it would apply for it, but I know they do a lot of grants regarding drinking water. And
well, the state revolving fund is a loan program, not a grant program, but this funding is coming out of our 404 fund. It's an enterprise capital, a water capital improvement fund. So We're not planning to use any grant funding or loan funding for this. It's not that big of a project. I mean, if that's the desire to go through it, to be honest, it's a lot of work to go through a grant or a loan for a very small amount of money like this. This money has been set aside for this purpose.
$1 million?
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that if somebody offered up a grant with minimal amount of work, we wouldn't go for it.
That's right.
But the investment in time, energy, and waiting for the grant is not, you're not looking at as being an efficient way to move this project forward, is what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, and I wish there were such thing as an easy to administer grant or loan program, but
fair enough.
Okay. Anything else?
Good. Thank you, Pat and Cody. Always such great explanations on how these things work. I appreciate your work and time coming in tonight. And thanks, Derek, for also being there for us in case we needed you. Derek is hiding in the
yes, he is. I see him. So I'll move on to item 3D, if it's okay. This very similar fashion. Next Tuesday night at the regular council meeting, we'll be bringing for you a contract for the actual construction of our 2019 water main improvement. So we call it the 2019 water main extensions project because that's when the project actually began with the initial design. I'm going to pull up a few notes here on that just to kind of give you a briefing. Our engineer on this project is Parametrics, who, as you know, we're working with on the WRF project as well. We had a contract with them 2 years ago, actually, for roughly $236,000. They spent less than half of that in the design of this particular project. To date, they've spent just over $121,000. In the 21 budget, we have for construction only $1.72 million for this specific project. We bid the project out here on the we received bids on December 11th, and like Mayor alluded to a minute ago, bids have been coming in just fantastic right now because of COVID, because of the time of the year. We had 17 bidders on the project, and our low bidder on the project was Pape & Sons at 1.04. So we came in over $700,000 under budget on this bidding. So the project includes about 7,000 feet of water main extensions along Walmart Boulevard, 103rd Avenue, a replacement of some old and small size AC asbestos cement main along Grove Road, and 2 water connections along Canal Road. So what we'll be bringing to you next Tuesday night will be the construction contract to Pape & Sons in the amount of $1,040,163. And so I'll just take any questions you may have about that. I might also add, this is in accordance with our 2016 water system plan. We're trying to follow that plan as closely as we can. And in that light, we're already beginning planning for what we're calling our 2022 water main extension program. So we're going to have some money left over from the engineering on this project, and from the, apparently it looks like quite a bit from construction as well. So we will be able to apply that towards our next system upgrades.
Hey, Pat, for information purposes, next time, not tonight, but if you could give a little history and the importance of why we need to replace the AC or bury the AC piping, and how long we've been working on that, and how much more future project that entails, that would be helpful to the
Well, I'm an engineer. I love talking about that. I just don't know how much I want to bore you guys about that. So
that's why I asked next time.
Next time, right? Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. So that'll be coming next Tuesday night, and it will be in your packet. So, and I'll be there if you have any additional questions. So, thank you.
All right. No further questions for the team. Then we will I had given Mark Daley from TRPC an opportunity to address the council if he chose to. He doesn't have anything specific to address, but since he's here, does anyone have any questions for the Honorable Mark Daley?
Happy to answer them.
I'm curious if Mark Daley's related to Carson Daley.
I'm not. I'm not.
That's all I had.
All right, thank you. I'm glad I could be here to help. Good to see you all.
I'm glad you didn't have to drive very far to come out to the meeting, and I will virtually see you Friday morning for our TRPC meeting. Great, thanks for coming out. All right, for the people who are still in attendance, it is now 7 p.m. and we're going to go into a 30-minute executive session regarding a property acquisition, which is one of the allowable reasons for a executive session. Councilmember DePino?
Thanks, Mayor. I didn't see a link to the executive session in the emails.
You were sent one by Lori, so she could send it to you again real quick if you'd like.
Please.
You should have all gotten an email that has a link to the executive session. It would have been last week. It would have come out. So find that, or Lori will send you a new one, and we'll meet there. Attendees, you're welcome to stick around. We'll be back in 30 minutes. If we need more time, we'll come back and let you know we're going to have more time. But other than mayors and council reports, that's the end of the stuff. Yes, Tracy.
I'm curious if it's a study session. Do we have to come back and officially close it, or?
Well, we have other activities before us. We have the mayors and council members' reports.
Okay.
Yeah, so we wouldn't want to miss that.
Oh, heck no.
No.
Could we not just do that now and then close? If
Good
it pleases the council and the mayor.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm not sure why we scheduled it like this. So we can do the mayor's report and council member initiatives now. And so don't go anywhere, attendees. Wait, I'm getting a council member initiatives. I'm reminded they're called council member initiatives. So not the reports that you normally give during the council meetings, but any new ideas that you'd want to bring up before your co-council members. Okay, well, the mayor's report is fairly simple. If I sent out to you a link to the governor's address today, if you had a chance to see it, that's great, or you can review it. It's on TVW. You can go back and watch it at your own leisure. I'll give you the very Reader's Digest version of it. They have changed the way that they're going to manage the restrictions put in place, which had been going county by county. And now they've developed regional approach to this. And these regions echo the emergency medical services regions that already exist in the state. So it's actually a pretty good model. So we're in the West region, which puts us in with Lewis, Mason, Grays Harbor, and I think Pacific counties. And so each region will be moved from phase to phase based on 4 main criteria, which, and I won't go into great detail on it, but it's basically the numbers that they look at as far as number of overall infections, number of hospitalizations from all causes, and then deaths related to the infection, and a rate of infection. They want to keep it below 10%. If you have all those factors in place, they'll move you forward to the next phase. Everybody is considered in phase 1 right now. Don't let that panic you. We're basically in phase 1 restrictions as far as it goes with our local businesses anyway. This Friday, they will be doing the first assessment based on the prior 2 weeks. If those numbers demonstrate what they appear to, then this region would be moved into the next phase, which would allow for a somewhat relaxed opening of fitness centers and entertainment centers like the cinema. 2 weeks after that, they'll do another assessment based on the previous 2 weeks, and so on and so forth, with the hopes of accelerating the regions that are doing the best. The good news that they said was that overall, Washington State's number 45 on the rate of infection out of 50, so we're actually doing really well. And that also they introduced the new Secretary of the Department of Health, Dr. Umair Shah, and he actually was pretty good at explaining things. So if you have a chance and you want to go back to review that, TVW is where you'd see that. And other than the good work that our team has been doing, I don't have anything else for you tonight. So we'll start with Councilmember Blair.
I don't have any initiatives. Watch the same thing you did. I don't have exactly the same excitement, I guess, but
Well, I
sit in a
wasn't
restaurant,
excited
but
or
we
not
can go sit
excited.
in
I
a
was just
restaurant.
telling you what I heard.
Yeah, can't sit in a restaurant, but we can go sit in a full airplane.
Is that right? So nothing new?
Nope.
All right, Councilmember Carmody.
I got nothing new. My first intercity transit meeting is tomorrow.
Oh, very good. Councilmember Curry.
I have no initiatives to bring before you.
Thank you. Councilmember Stillwell.
I have no initiatives.
But you have new garage doors.
I do have some nice new garage doors.
And they're very nice.
After 12 weeks.
Councilmember Wood.
My initiative is to continue to survive and be viable in the community as a restaurant owner. And I'm hoping that more of my friends that are adults start using a little bit of thinking ability that God has given all of us to use, that I see so many people afraid to stop and think, and just think. Add up the numbers yourself. Do your own homework. We're hanging in there, and we're going to keep trying and hopefully get through this. I wish everybody luck, but I don't know how much of an initiative that is, but that's what I got for you. Thanks.
Appreciate it. Are you on the TCOM admin?
I am. And I was back when they were Capcom, by the way, a decade ago. And I remember that period of time. And from where we were in the budgeting discussions then to where we are now, it's a heck of a lot easier of a discussion now that the county isn't involved in those discussions, and it's all, included. So that was I think that out of all the decisions I've seen made probably in all of my political career, I think that was probably the best of any of the moves, of large moves that were made. So I think TCOM or Capcom back then made a fantastic choice.
Yeah. You have a meeting coming up tomorrow night then, right?
I have one tomorrow afternoon. Yes.
Yeah. Right. 3:30. Thank you. Councilmember DePino.
Thanks, Mayor. The only thing that I just want to make sure that we do, and well, at least the Planning Commission talks about the drive-through pharmacy in downtown. Do we have any? I suppose if Grant's still on, if we get just a quick yes or no if it's on this agenda for them.
I can tell you that it's on the docket.
Great.
It is on the docket, yeah. Yep.
Awesome. Do you know when they meet?
Isn't that April for that one? Grant?
They'll start probably looking at it at the next meeting, and then nothing done until April or May, but they'll start looking at it here shortly. They've already been introduced to the concepts once last year.
All righty. Thank you very much. That's it.
Very good. Councilmember Kaminsky.
Oh, okay. So we've been lumped into a larger regional area by the governor. So I'm assuming this nullifies our request that we put through in writing. And just for the benefit of the group, did we get an answer or response or a letter from a secretary, anything back? I'm just curious.
We did not, and it doesn't really alter the nature of the request council submitted to the governor. It still provides, a request for information, and as they have that information to provide to you, we'll see if they do. I can tell you that the best way to get the most recent information from their office is to watch these addresses that the governor puts out. He has the Secretary of the Department of Health there. He has other people with him there who answer the questions. The most enlightening part of those addresses is through the question and answer period that at the end of it. a lot of the information like you're asking about comes out of that, the clarification comment. So other than that, I'm not expecting, honestly, a great deal of communication back from the governor's office based on that resolution.
That would be typical that they wouldn't respond to us as a city. I mean,
It's not atypical.
okay. And for my second comment, I have an idea, kind of a wild hair idea. It's probably going to get shot down, but I thought I'd put it out anyway. And it would be complex and it could be over a long period of time, but I just wondered, we have our new middle school going up and it's under construction. And I realize that Southworth will be using the middle school while they get their school replaced, assuming we go back to school at some point in this lifetime. But what I'm wondering is there any way to save maybe the gymnasium portion of the old middle school and maybe convert it into a theater, like the Triad Theater, where we could have live performances, because it's a space that maybe could be altered. We already had grant money for that. So just wondered if that would be, anybody like that idea?
I love that idea. You would have to pick up that gymnasium and move it though, because the plans that they have for the middle school, all the existing middle school that you see there now, the old one, will be torn down after Southworth is done with it. And that will all be the playing fields and the bus loop and all the rest of it. And if you go to the Yelm Community Schools webpage, you can see the plans for that, but I'd be happy to talk to you about that more offline as well.
I realize that that's probably not in the plan that's already done, but would it be worth considering like recreating a part of that plan?
We could certainly, write down a little bit more about what you're talking about. We can bring that to the superintendent's attention and see if he has a better answer than I do on that.
All right, thank you.
Joe?
Thanks, Mayor. Carrie, I did see that Superintendent Ward is looking to change things up a little bit. I thought I saw that on Facebook that the plans are being some of the plans are being reconsidered because of cost savings. So maybe chat with him.
All right, thank you.
Never know.
I will.
Yeah, to follow up on that, what they found is because the bids came in so low and they're under budget on this contract, that they're going to use some of the bond money that's already been authorized by the voters to add on a couple of other projects that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to afford. So, yeah.
All right.
So,
thank you.
Keep thinking.
I'm trying.
Okay.
I love those ideas, by the way, Terry. They're different, and I appreciate that.
So let's see. Then now we've gone through all of our initiatives. Unless Mr. Graham, did you have anything else you'd like to add for the edification of the council?
No, I'll cover my standard update during their regular business meeting.
I was just waiting for everybody to do that sigh of relief that they do when you say that. Just kidding. Okay.
No, you're
so the only person left in the attendees is our favorite citizen, Debbie Furman. Debbie, we are going to go into executive session now starting at 7:13 p.m. This being a study session, we don't actually have to come back and do a closing because we don't actually adjourn the study sessions. So I will just say that at this point, I would accept just for the record, a motion to move into the executive session and close the regular study session at this time.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then that's what we're going to do. So go looking for that link. You can close out of this one and I will see you in the executive session shortly.